Hello everybody, and just here and welcome back to Shangri-La Frontier Season 2 Episode 7, I think, or Episode 32, as they numbered it for, again, some weird godforsaken reason, but Episode 32, apparently, that's what it is. Regardless, it seems like this episode will not, in fact, take place in the titular Shangri-La Frontier, but rather in the... I can't remember the name of the mecha game that Sanraku is playing now. Something like Ash and Echoes, something like that, right? Something along those lines, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure entirely. But yeah, in the previous episode, Sanraku finally made it to Beam. Gave her all the materials. She got a bit of a case of whatchamacallit. And now the joke is just doesn't work anymore. She got a heart attack. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, but again, it doesn't work anymore because I took too long thinking about it. She was very surprised by what Sanraku brought her because it was not just regular scorpion materials, but the golden scorpion materials and a whole bunch of them, right? The core, I think so. The stinger, right? The pincers and everything else. But she quickly got her bearings again and gave Sanraku the whatever kind of battery reactor thing, right? The thing that the ancient gear from Inventoria needs to function. So Sanraku, of course, immediately went into Inventoria, and yeah, those things count as armor. And he can't use armor. So even with the battery now in his possession, he still cannot use anything from the inventory, supposedly because the opening shows us Sanraku wearing some futuristic looking helmet, so perhaps that's gonna be a thing that he can actually wear. We don't know, maybe he's gonna get an idea for that while playing this mecha game. We'll see. Sanraku gets frustrated and just rage quits the game. Because of course. He talks a little bit to his sister, asking about her opinion, right? What if there was some clothes that she really wanted, but it turns out they were baby clothes? And she said, well, I would just wear different clothes. Yeah, good idea, he thought. And he dug out another good game, perhaps not a god game like Shangri-La, but a decent game that he liked playing, where you enter a mech suit and you don't just, press buttons and turn levers, but rather the way you move the mech, you become the giant robot. And it's supposedly like one of the few games that do that, and also not a very popular game, which it doesn't track. I mean, who wouldn't want to play a game where you're a giant robot? Then again, Hoken kinda just died and disappeared, so maybe it tracks actually. They did try to resurrect Hoken, I believe, under like a different studio, different publisher, but that didn't quite work. Yeah, there was some like thingamajigs, some things trying to do there about it, but yeah, nothing came of it, unfortunately. Oh man, the days and hours I spent playing Hoken with my friends. Oh well. What was I? Right, he went to play that game, met a couple of people, one of them who really wanted to defeat Sanraku, right? Because Sanraku always kicked his ass and got him passed in the leaderboards, and Sanraku kicked his ass, of course, again, despite being very rusty. He remembered the game immediately, used the environment, used the properties of each of their mechs, and won that skirmish. Not easily, but still, a win is a win. And then the number 1 player on the leaderboard appeared, who also has a bone to pick with Sanraku, I think. Maybe. Or just likes dueling people and she just has a bone to pick with everybody. And that is, I assume, what today's episode is gonna be about. Sanraku versus... I don't think... We got a name for her, I just don't have it noted anywhere. But she looked kinda sorta like one of the developers of Shangri-La. Like just about vaguely, I think. Maybe. I don't know, I'm not sure. The whole, like, plot line of the Shangri-La developers kinda went nowhere yet, right? So I'm trying to, like, find some ties, maybe, right? Like, maybe they learn about where Sanraku lives and they harass him or something. I have no clue. Or maybe Sanraku meets them in some other game and he doesn't know that they're the developers. They don't know that he's the Sanraku from Shangri-La. And I don't know. I'm like waiting for that plot to reappear and for something to happen with it. It's not a given that something will happen with it, of course, but still, they were some nice characters, so it would be a pity to just waste them for a for one-off gag episode, really, right? Yeah, today's episode is probably just gonna be a fight: Sanraku versus the girl with a scar, and that's probably what this episode's gonna be. Shangri-La Frontier never shied away from episodes that are just a fight, so why would they shy away from it now, right? So how about we just watch and see what actually happens, right? Shall we? To do that, you're gonna need your subs, of course, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. And I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want to monetarily on Patreon, YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word. It costs you nothing and helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching Shangri-La Frontier episode 32, apparently in 3, 2, 1, go. The intro again. Interesting that Rei is like placed right with them in this scene. Nephilim Hollow, yeah. Yeah, not Ashen Echoes. That's a gacha, I think, right? Ashen Echoes, Ash Echoes, something like that. But yeah, to continue the thoughts, interesting that in the both in the opening and in the like intro segment, Rei is kind of placed together with Sanraku Pencilgon and Oikatsu, right? Like she's not entirely part of the group at this point, right? So I wonder if she's gonna be a little bit more involved with the Wolfgang. Maybe. I love this opening. Yeah, we are still yet to meet her. She has a scar on her face. Could she be the same person as in Nephilim Hollow? And like Sanraku is gonna uh, tell her to try Shangri-La? Or now the scar is in a different place, sure, but still. What are those names? Rust, mold? Is there alga and I don't know, moss? Yeah. I love the atmosphere here. Like, it's really like serious. Like, if this wasn't a game, then this would be the moment where we're like afraid for our protagonist's life, right? Yeah, probably. You're not gonna win against that. Yeah? I mean, seems so, yeah. Yeah, okay, so that's like a whole big event. What is he looking at? Is he like making for a handler support kind of thing for Rust? Or just, I don't know, checking stats of those mechs or something? Yeah, going out in the open, probably not the best idea. You gotta use the cover of the city. Although Kingfisher is like particularly speedy, I think, right? So there is a risk of crashing. I don't even know what I should be talking about, to be honest with you. Like, it's just an enjoyable fight. Doesn't need my commentary, really. Yeah, the arm cannons can turn the tide. Or like shoulder cannons, right? Because even if you have all their limbs pinned or whatnot, then there's always like fifth limb, essentially. That's some cool animation. In CG, right? So it's not like that impressive compared to if they were to make it in 2D, but still. Melee range. Yeah, the twin whatever seems to be made for melee. That Kingfisher isn't. Rooting for your biggest enemy, are you? But now you see the discrepancy in skill. Going melee range again. Yeah, probably not a great idea, unless it's a juke. And he's just gonna, like, slip underneath her and shoot her in the back. Or he's just gonna lose. That did not go as expected, to be honest with you. You didn't give it your all. Yeah. True, yeah. Right. That's also a good point. Yeah, no, true. Yeah. Nobody else makes her heart go as doki doki as Sanraku. Yes, she is. The blush speaks for itself. Yeah, sounds like a plan. It's gonna have to wait. Or has she not been playing for 3 months either? Oh. Oh, right. She said that she's bored with this one. That's why she's kinda sorta like hoping to lose to Samaraku, right? To try a new mech. Yeah? Something to aspire to. Okay, so I guess a couple more NH episodes are ahead of us. Oh? I love the logo Nephilim Hollow. It ain't Shangri-La no more. I really like how meta it is. The hell is that? Oh, like the lore, I guess, of Nephilim Hollow. I'm assuming those are Nephilims. Or a singular Nephilim. Okay, multiple Nephilims after all. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as it always goes. It really feels like the lore of some gacha game, doesn't it? Of course. Gonna farm some parts. Okay, so that's how it works. You destroy or defeat one of the, like, NPC enemy giants, and you, like, slap armor pieces on top of it. Cool system, actually. Yeah, exactly. If it's not widely used, then people probably don't know how they work. They don't know any counters, right? Mm-hmm. That's actually a really cool system. Okay, how do we capture that? Oh, some injection thing, gotcha. So it's a combo of piss poor Pokemon because there's only 2 to capture and a giant robot game. Okay. But people always wanna knock someone from the top, right? Oh, gotcha. They just get kind of bored with her fighting with this one. They want to see something new, some new exciting fights. Yeah, makes perfect sense, actually. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's what he was doing. Hmm. Could you be Sanaraku's operator, perhaps? That could be helpful. She can't read the moves herself so much. She relies on Mold for that. Like, if Mold doesn't know about something, then Roost won't know about it. Huh? Maybe. Maybe. Oh, not in the spectator area. That's an interesting looking Nephilim. Like a barrel on wheels. Not the speedy, agile type that he usually uses. Sure. Yeah, like exactly opposite to that. Or is it just supposed to look like it? like bulky cosmetics, but not actually all that bulky when it comes to the build. Make mold overthink things. Or what's the plan here? I love how serious it is with the harsh, contrasty shading and everything. You got like 2 more minutes until the end of the episode. Right, so it can't really fly. Not with this mass and those thrusters, I wouldn't think. There's the thing on his back, like a guided rocket launcher or something. Is that the trump card? Apparently. Hmm. Huh? Active camo? Huh. Okay. Hmm. Cue the ED. No, okay. Not quite yet. Oh, it doesn't hide your thrusters? Hmm. Right. So why is he using it if it doesn't really work? Hmm. Does it, like, accidentally change the hitbox or something? Like, collision is checked on the, like, camera collision channel, so if something is invisible, then it has no hitbox? Not quite. You only get an arm. Okay, so tanky enough to survive the salvo, then using the active, then in the cloud of dust, he got himself onto a wall somewhere, and using active camo, since he wasn't moving, there were no like thrusters and anything. And using active camo, he was able to ambush her. Sure, makes sense. Actually makes sense as a strat. That's why the heavy armor. That's why active camo. Question is, why did he use active camo this early instead of using it after he got hidden by the cloud of dust? To introduce more variation to Rust's fire? Right? Like, she could see his mech somewhat, but not properly, so she was shooting wide, so it would create a bigger cloud of smoke? Maybe. I don't know. We're gonna learn about this whole strategy, no doubt. Mini? No mini. Damn. That's a pity. Alright, let's watch it again, although I don't think there's gonna be all that much to talk about, to be honest with you. OP, yeah. I really like this bit where they like break the fourth, not the fourth wall, but they like, Shangri-La Frontier. However, right, he's not playing Shangri-La right now, he's playing Nephilim Hollow. I really like this bit. This like being self-aware of that, right? That's cool. Crimson Twine Wing. Still some issues with aliasing on some of those bots, and I still don't understand why, but whatever. Getting pretty sick of this Nephilim. Right, so she really wants to be defeated so that she can get a new Nephilim, basically. I was wondering why she's saying that she's really sick of it, but I thought that maybe she wanted to replace it, but because Sanraku arrived and she's not gonna replace it, she's not gonna learn another Nephilim, she's gonna use the one that she knows, and that like changed her plans when it comes to acquiring a new one. But no, not quite. I love how serious this moment is. And her design really lends itself well to this seriousness. And the change in art, right? Those like smear lines a little bit, the super detailed eyes and hair and everything. Those like twitchy eye movements. It's like a scene out of a horror show or out of like a, I don't know, serious Gundam show or something, right? Like when, I don't know, she learns that the protagonist returned, he was not actually killed in the ambush, and he's going after her head, or right? I really, and this shot, you can see the unevenness of her scar, the unevenness of her lips. I really like those moments in Shangri-La, and I really like those moments in general. When a show is ultimately low stakes and goofy, right? It's a game. It's just a game ultimately. Not even a game that matters particularly much. It's a game that Sanraku hasn't played for 3 months. It's a game that doesn't have that many players. It's not Sanraku's main game, right? It ultimately doesn't matter who wins here, who loses, what happens. And even like on like a more meta standpoint, things don't really matter because again, it's just a game, right? But everything here is portrayed so seriously that you would think that it's not a game, that it's some sort of a mecha show set up in like a space mecha high school or whatever, right? And she's the member of student council that really doesn't like the new upstart Sanraku or whatever, right? I really like it. Why haven't you logged in since then? I don't know. Do you expect me to remember? It's been 3 months. And you lost to a trash game, Roost, I'm afraid. She's a bit of a tsundere, isn't she? Rei has competition. Damn, she better be quick, because Sanaku's gonna get stolen by a mecha tsundere. Sanaku's the one who crashed the leaderboard. What do you mean crash? Exactly. Crash as in arrived from nowhere and then just kept steadily climbing all the way to the second place? Or do you mean crash as in the servers could not process the score that he got and the leaderboard crashed? I don't know, could be either. Rus managed to fight him to a tie, yeah. Crimson Twine Wings' hardest battle was against his Kingfisher. Cool fight, all in all. But I really think that Sanaku made a couple of blunders here. I mean, he is rusty at the game, for sure. It's been 3 months since he played last. But I really don't think that getting out in the open was a good choice. Not for Kingfisher, who's plenty agile, so he would probably do better in a city where he can always turn a corner and hide from fire, right? And his second mistake was getting into melee range. Like, you just gotta look at the twin, whatever, the red one, and you can immediately tell, just from the design alone, that it's made for melee, right? Like, it doesn't even have guns on its arms. It just has a rocket pod on one shoulder and a laser cannon on the other shoulder, and the hands are both just stabby, slashy, pointy bits, and even the legs are stabby, slashy, pointy bits. Oh, the rocket pod is on the hip, not on the shoulder. So yeah, you probably should not be going against a not quite a melee build, but a build at least somewhat optimized for melee, with a build that just has a dinky little lightsaber. Yeah, you only have a single lightsaber and your opponent has 2 metal sabers. There's no way you can win that. Unexpected. But yeah, actually, like, makes sense, really, that Sanraku would be rusty at the game and would actually lose against someone who's been presumably playing this game all this time. I mean, presumably at this point, because we later learned that she has been playing the game all this time, getting only better. Meanwhile, Sanraku has been forgetting all about it, right? Yeah. And of course, she wanted Sanraku to give it his all, to win, preferably even. But Sanraku makes a good point. Yeah. It's been 3 months, there's probably been a bunch of updates, a bunch of new parts, the meta probably shifted. Meta shifts on much, like, smaller increments of time. 3 months, the meta shifted like twice in that period, easily. I love how happy she gets when she realizes that it's a chance for her to be playing with Sanraku more, right? Oh, you can get back to speed by fighting me! Let's fight again! So happy about it, but alas. And the blush. She's actually really happy to see you back. Even her ears are blushing. So happy about the rematch. She's such a tsundere. She sticks with the same machine until she loses to someone. I also love the fact that Sanaku just has no clue about the, like, lore, not just the lore of the game, but like lore of the players, right? He doesn't really care about why you have this name or other. He doesn't care about your personal quirks. He doesn't care that you always use rocket pods. He just wants to play a cool online mecha game. He doesn't give a fuck about any of that. It's great. Like, he's the kind of player who would be skipping every single cutscene in a game because they just like the gameplay. She hasn't lost one since the last time, yeah? So, indeed, the best player on the server. I love this bit. Nephilim Hollow. We're changing the title. No, still Shangri-La. I like it. I really like this bit of like meta whatever. We get the lore, of course. Some global threat appeared on Earth, brought upon global apocalypse, and humanity crumbled, and then they figured out a way how to harness this power and or how to create a counter to that power, to that danger, and they are slowly scrambling up back from the ruins of the civilization, right? You have Arknights, you have Punishing Grey Raven, you have Nikkei, you have Alchemy Stars, kinda, you have Girls Frontline, right? It's a very classic, like, gacha kind of a plot line. Those look new. Yeah, apparently some newly added base body. So all this time it's only been the open eyes that were available as the base? Or have there been more models and it's just the closed-eyed that's new to the game? I'm going for uniqueness. Things she doesn't know. Yeah, chances are she won't have any counters to. I love the detail in the art here. Everything is so well shaded and so grimy, and it's great. It looks great. And I really. This is the thing with Shangri-La Frontier. The biggest thing with it, probably, to be honest with you. The creator of this story understands games so much, and I probably talked about it so many times already, but I'm gonna talk about it again because it rears its head again. Right? The creator understands how games work on like a mechanic level. Because this is a really freaking cool mechanic for a game like this. It's like a PvPvE where there are PvE encounters, and but the main main bread and butter of the game is the PvP. And you go fight in PvE areas where you get the Nephilims, you hunt them down, you capture them like in Pokemon or Jurassic Park. Evolve, I think, something like that, the mobile game for Jurassic Park. And you capture them, and that is the base for your mech, right? So if you're good at, presumably, first of all, presumably there are like different tiers of those enemies. If you capture a level 1 open eye, then sure you can make a new Nephilim, but it's probably not gonna be anything all that good. But if you capture level 80 champion close eyes, then you get a nice base body already, right? They differ in stats, differ in abilities and whatnot. And then on top of that, you customize it with whatever weapons and whatever armor pieces you want. That's so cool. I would really want to play a game like this, where you can fully customize your robot like that. The closest to that was that I played at least. I guess Robocraft, kinda, where you would build your own spider mechs and hovercrafts and flying stuff and stuff like that, and fight with those. That was a cool game. Heard Robocraft 2 came out, but I haven't played it. There was also I can't remember the title of it, but you would build your, again, cars and tanks and shit out of like scrap parts, essentially, like corrugated steel and wood planks, pallets, and stuff like that. Can't remember the name of it though. Super cool. It would really make for a good game. And pretty much every single game that this creator makes that's a completely fictional game just for the sake of this story would be a game that I would play in a heartbeat. Yeah, she's well respected, but people are kind of bored with her using the same Nephilim constantly and they want to see something fresh. And so they are secretly hoping for her to lose eventually. I want to note something down before I forget. Where are you, Shafla? Wherefore art thou? There it is. Yeah. Ruth is gonna play the blue-haired character in Shangri-La. The blue-haired ninja in Shafla. Or another theory, Roost kind of reminds me of Tsukuyo Tsukuri of the developers of Shangri-La. I wonder if that's her. Roost is Tsukuyo Tsukuri. I wonder. The mold was feeding my moose to Roost. Yeah, apparently. Is that legal though? That, you know, it's essentially kind of like stream sniping, right? You have someone watch the feed from a whatchamacallit, a spectator perspective and tell one of the players what's going on, right? Like, he can probably see where Sanraku is if the camera starts following him, right? Doesn't seem all that fair to me. It really doesn't. And here it comes. Yeah, like he has an overview from a bird's eye view on the whole entire area. Really doesn't seem fair to me. But oh well, I guess. Fiddler Crab. It has a pincer with a ton of melee damage, some shooty gun on the left arm, and is in general very highly armored, which is like directly in opposition to what Sanraku usually uses. Type 6 guillotining scissor unit, bookmaker, close range, massive damage per hit, but it's slow. Yeah, we're not gonna read any of those stats, I'm afraid. Yeah, she's so happy to finally find an equal, isn't she? I was wondering all this time what Sanraku's plan. I thought that maybe, like, yeah, those rocket legs are apparently very, very low mobility. So I was wondering that maybe he is just supposed to seem very clunky and slow and whatnot. But in the end, Sanraku will ditch all of those gray parts, and only the white parts will remain, which will lower his mass, and the thrusters he has now will be enough to give him enough speed and agility, and he's just gonna start zooming around, right, to confuse her, because she's prepared for a slow mech of a tank of a mech to emerge from a cloud of smoke, but a tiny little VP thing just bolts out of it, right? And I thought that maybe that's what Sanraku counts on. Or maybe if you can't like ditch pieces of your armor, because entirely possible that you just can't, maybe he's counting on Roost's attack to like strip them away. We know that damage model in this game is fairly detailed, right? You can lose fragments of your mech, you don't just have a health bar. So maybe he's counting on her shooting off all those armor plates and making his mech lighter in effect, or I don't know, something like that, I was thinking. But no, the plan seems to be very different. Active camo, which sucks because it masks the machine, yeah, but it doesn't mask the particle effects, which is a big issue, because you might as well just not be masked whatsoever, because those are like very easily, very clearly visible. So I was thinking, what's he planning with that, right? When I heard here that she's gonna be looking for the booster angles and dust clouds, I thought, okay, Sanraku is gonna use some sort of a diversion. Maybe some thrusters of his can detach and be individual units. And now, instead of 5 clumped up clusters, there's going to be 5 separate clusters flying in every which direction, and she's not gonna know which one to aim at, right? Maybe he's gonna like reconfigure the thrusters. He's gonna turn off the middle one, leaving only the symmetrical 4, and he's gonna flip upside down to have her shoot at his head, but it's not his head, it's the space between his legs, and she's aiming at nothing. Right? I was expecting something like that, maybe. Some sort of a misdirection this way. But no, not quite. Yeah, he was hoping for the cover of this cloud of smoke. I love the drama of this. Like, it's a scream as if she was about to actually die, right? Like, as if this was a Gundam show and Sanraku was aiming for the cockpit to crush the pilot, right? Yeah, so he was using active camo to hide inside of some building. And I think he intended to snap her in half. Or I thought that he intended to snap her in half. Right? Like aim at the midsection and just cut her in half. But apparently he was just aiming for the arm. Hoarida. Which is not gonna do much, is it? Like, she hasn't lost a thruster. She's just lost a stabby arm. And only a single one. Meanwhile, Sanraku just kinda burned this trick, because now she's gonna be wary for it. So... I don't know. I don't know what Sanraku's planning here, exactly. Yeah, she only lost an arm. Ultimately not that big of a damage. Like, if it was her left leg that has the rocket pods, right? If it was her right arm and the shoulder cannon, right? Then it would cripple her somehow, but she still has her weapons besides one of her melee weapons, which doesn't really change much, does it? And of course, of course, gonna end it here, because of course we are. Because we can't see everything in a single run, can we? We gotta have a cliffhanger, right? We absolutely do have to get a cliffhanger, because of course we do. Well. Yeah, we don't even get like a title of the next episode or anything. Happens. Okay. So, episode 32 of Shangri-La, and what can I say about it, really? Cool episode. Cool fight in CG, granted, so it kinda, takes away a little bit from the coolness factor, because animating like 3D models in space and having them do all sorts of flippity flops in the air, that's, well, I'm not gonna say that it's not hard to do, because it absolutely is, but it's much easier to do that than to like draw every frame and then draw the in-betweens and have it flow smoothly. So it's a decent CG fight. That's how I'm gonna say. Uh, but what is the most interesting about this episode, I think, is not so much the fight as, first of all, Sanraku's plan, right? Like, this is the thing that is always interesting in Shangri-La. What is Sanraku plotting now, right? How is he planning to get rid of the champion Crystal Scorpion? How is he planning to defeat Weathermon? How is he planning to get levels in time? How is he intended? How is he planning to customize his mech to win this fight? Right? This is pretty much always the biggest part of fun here, trying to figure out what's going on in his head. And I think the same is true for this episode. That was the biggest part of it, and also getting a very, very nice character with a very nice bit of Gap Moe to her almost. Like, something in between Tsundere and Gap Moe to her, really, where she's like this aggressive, tomboyish, like Satsuki from Kill la Kill looking girl with a scar on her face and the the top of the leaderboards and whatnot, the unattainable perfection. But then she has such a soft spot for Sanraku. She's blushing, she's happy at the prospect of being able to fight him again, and at night, like after she logs out, she's gonna be laying in her bed, her legs lifted and kicking in the air and writing in her diary, "Today I fought with Sanraku-kun." I can imagine it. I can picture it in my head. Yeah, characters and Sanraku's exploits are the biggest driving force in the show for sure. But in this episode in particular, they also really went like balls to the wall with the art, right? I guess they saved a good chunk of time and budget by so much of this episode being CG that they decided to crank up the 2D art a little bit, and you could tell by the shading, by the expressions on their faces, by the like dramatic zoom and hyper detailed eyes and everything. That was great. Like, show this episode to anybody, tell them it's a Gundam OVA. Don't tell them anything about Shangri-La. Like, edit out those bits with Shangri-La logo out of this video and show them that, and like they're gonna believe you. They're absolutely gonna believe you. Okay, maybe not Gundam, because Gundams have very like specific designs, and there always has to be that boxy one with 4 antennae and the chin, right? The classic design. But tell them it's like a brand new mecha IP and it's a super cool episode, and do you want to see it? And they would absolutely believe you, because it really works like that. Like, that's the beauty of those other games being shown in Shangri-La, that they are also treated seriously. They're not just treated as a bit of a diversion, they're not just treated as a bit of whatever, right? Like, the fighting game works as a fighting game. The mecha game works as a mecha game, and everything about it works in the mecha context, and everybody is super engaged in it. They are not even talking about Shangri-La Frontier at this moment. Good. I like it. I really, really like this episode, and I love Shangri-La as a whole, so it was basically a given that I'm gonna enjoy this one, because I enjoy every single episode of this show. So, nothing new here, nihil novi sub sole, as the ancient Romans think said. Greeks? Romans. Yeah, nihil novi sub sole is Latin, so Romans probably. I mean, it could have been like a French saying, because a lot of Europe was speaking Latin at some point in those like high castes, so maybe. I don't know. In any case, I think that's gonna be it from me for today, but maybe you guys have something more to add on the topic of this episode, my reaction, my theories, stuff like that. If so, say so in the comments down below. No spoilers, please, as always. Spoilers can go to my Discord if you'd like. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to be notified of future videos, not only Shangri-La, but also Ari Fureta, Dan Da Dan, plenty others that I have to catch up with, Mahonare Mekaude, Mao 2099, and plenty others coming in the future. Click the bell to be notified of when I go live, because I do go live sometimes, and to be notified of when those videos go up, of course. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, it costs absolutely nothing and helps the channel an awful lot. And with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Zerena, Dr. Watt, Akamancer, Marsh, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to fight Rust.